I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Hello, Gunni! I'm so glad to connect to you.
Yes, I am too.
And what we did now, just before putting the recording on, we connected to each other, kind of, okay, universe, God, what do you want us to emanate? What do you want us to focus on this podcast? And then joy, celebrating life, happiness. And when I see you, we are in a group together, I activate my happiness, my joyness. It's like, yes, of course. So maybe you will say, because you have said also that this is a time for happiness to me, to go back to my childhood and bring all the childishness in a good way, and the fun and all the good things, kind of.
Yes, because when you are over I grew up in 50s and into the 60s, and you learned quickly to behave after what was expected. We had a lot of fun as children out playing, but the seriousness of life. Yeah. So if you follow to do, you're supposed to do this and that, and then you'll be happy. And life has taught me that's not true, but that's okay. It was the journey. So now I'm back into my new childhood of being retired, and that means playtime.
Yep.
So I've been hearing this since, more and more the last years. Just let go and play, have fun. Invite your inner child to come and enjoy this lifetime. And I think when we grow older, if we turn into the serious, then we have lost the spark and the spirit to play. So I say to people that I moved to this old house here in the inland of Norway. And I said, when people ask, what are you doing? Oh, it's my playground. I moved to my playground. I'm going to have fun and play. And I tell this to my neighbors, and they're, I'm going to turn up dirt, and I'm going to paint, and I'm going to do all these things. It's not going to be super Norwegian, proper, beautiful, because it's a playground. I might want to plant, and it might do something different. So I'm giving myself permission. And I think that's the key for me, at least, that God or source, I would call it source. God is so limited in people's mind.
I agree.
So coming back to opening this word into source or creation, because that becomes everything, and that when you suddenly feel like that, wow, then it's fun to be here. If I wasn't doing this work like we're doing with Solera, and I've been on this journey of finding this back to my childhood over 30 years, then I don't think life would be fun, because I'm excited about life.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm excited about the youth and young people turning more back, even though people think they're lost in their computers. I think that they will find their way out. Yeah. And I think it is great to then have our, journey, and to be able then to assist them with their journey in conversation, because I learn a lot from young children or youth.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you say the thought about God source, because I say I source God source. And I know that a lot of people, okay, you think you're God. Yes, I think I am God, but I think all humans are gods. We are God creator, and we can merge with the source. So we are source creators, creating light. And you say you go coming back to your childhood, and I have seen your painting, and it's wow, it's so uplifting painting. So I can imagine you also, your childhood or your childlessness, playness come through painting for you.
Yeah, I've been drawing and painting and making things since I was a child, sculptures or whatever, anything, baking or making food, or I can never follow any recipes. I'm always creating.
Yeah.
Everything is creation.
Every
So yeah, so it's not only artistic things. I think now that source is always coming through in everything you enjoy.
yeah.
So people need to look at themselves as creators, like the creator. And we are just the one little spark of creator, but we are a creator. And everything we create, if it sparks joy, then we open up the sourceness in life. And people, I mean, everybody loves to be around children, and you see their smiles and they play. And sometimes they're too much, but it's because we're too stuck. But but you love the joy. And
Yeah.
that I think we can reach if we don't limit it to you're only creative if you're doing art or music or writing. That's not true. Just creating a nice meal for your family is a creation,
Yes.
and it's celebration, and it's love. It's
Yeah.
everything.
Mm.
So I think we're losing touch with what things are to us, mean to us. But we also have to take care of ourselves,
Yes.
nurture, because women, many, especially in the modern time now,
Yeah.
are at the burnout
Yeah.
place. And I've seen that, and I wonder how can we all assist ourselves to be joyful, be this powerful, pulled together like women are for families and communities. At the same time, we don't give and give and give and become empty.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have to go out of our head. We are so head focused, head. We need to do that. We have so many scriptures. So it's like the playfulness is not in our scriptures. We have to go out of the head. Have you heard about Tony Robbins?
Yes, yes.
He used to say, if you stay in your head, you're dead. And I love that quote. It's like, stay in your head and you are dead. It's like, yes, because it's become a very boring life. It's like you're going into this hamster wheel around and around and around and a repetition every day. What kind of life is that? That's not the way the children do it. They
No.
are so into the here and now and doing everything in the here and now and playing and having fun and dancing and making games. And yeah, so we can actually learn from our children. So I'm glad that I have 5 children activating the child in me.
Yeah, you're rich.
Yeah, I am.
I have 2 of my own, and my husband has 4, so we have 6 together and a lot of grandchildren.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we started because normally we give an introduction and who are gonna, but we just went straight into it. But I think that was good because we are actually talking about beyond our personality, because we are so fixated. Okay, what have you done? What are your role? So I don't say that it's something wrong with it, but we are now have learned to play God's sources beyond time, beyond space. But at the same time, I want to know something about you. So maybe you can tell a little bit about you. Yeah.
It's like you said, and especially now when when I've dropped all the titles
Yeah.
and I'm just so many things.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it matters. I've gone through so many different things to become who I am today. I I learned architecture. I learned fine arts, and I worked in many different ways and found out the ego is so hooked on being the title,
Yep.
and there's no fun there actually.
That's true. There's no fun there.
Because I remember in my, after studying art in America and becoming fine artist, master of fine art, and I was so rigid in having, when I was in America, I was not connected to that society, so I didn't follow the rules. So being in school was joyful. I made a lot of different things and I was so out there. When I came back to Iceland, where I'm from, I I just suddenly went back into the smallness of me, limits. And then you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to be that. No, it doesn't work to be so educated if you can't move out of your box. So I didn't enjoy being an artist because somehow I linked that with having to sell your art and do those things. And I was not good at that. I was not good at self promoting and things like that. So I I think maybe I pulled myself down in that. But I went into all kinds of spirituality that I've been doing since 86 or 7. And that has always lifted me, and I've followed that. So spirituality today is the main thing. And I think from this new advantage of being in joy and being in the childhood play space, I'm going to rediscover the artist and the creator in me
Yeah.
in a fun and playful way. And I don't think it matters how old I am. I think the age is not a thing. The energy needs maybe to be a little bit more, but it's coming because I'm just adjusting to this new time in my life. And I'm excited. I am so excited. And being with the MMs or the masters, the group we're in, it is showing us more and more that showing up as a group and connecting as a group and feeling this sourceness, everything becomes more easy. And I don't always, and if my mind wants to understand it, I've learned to just let that go.
Yeah.
And just, no, we're not going there. We're just going to be here and enjoy it. And suddenly you get epiphany. Ah, that was what's happening. Okay. And the grandness just keeps on being revealed.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said the word epiphany because when I had a big epiphany in 2008, this was kind of so out of the box and it turned around my life totally. But uh, I was mother, 5 small children, so I didn't have the time to really understand what was this big epiphany. I was kind of God. I was in such a light. I was the sun and I knew everything. I was on the mountain and I came down and the tears came and I felt everything. Wow, what is this? So it was, yeah, it was, I think it felt like the biggest epiphany at that time because I hadn't had epiphany like that. But that was the first. And then I have had hundreds now, maybe thousands. So to live with epiphany, as I said to Solera, I have in December, I start a course. It's called the Divinity Reset. And it is what you are saying, the reset, going back to our playground, playing and emanating over light. Uh, and when we do that, we experience epiphanies every day.
Yeah, and is it is boring without it.
It is boring without it. And yeah, but the first step is kind of okay, we have to hack out of our programming. So when
Yes,
we have hacked
absolutely.
out of it and live like a child, it's like so actually when we talk now, it's like I think that children experience epiphany all the time, even though they don't have the language to say that I had an epiphany. That's their playground. That's their world.
Yeah, yeah. They go from excitement and to sadness in a split second.
Yeah.
And they don't get caught up in the beginning in this, dynamic of being down on themselves, because that seems to be source loves you always.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what is happening. And I think the more we learn, and I think the focus is on self-love. And it's not selfish love, it's about honoring who we are. And I used to channel things for people around 2010 and 12 or something. And the word were always coming, you are perfectly imperfect. That was the constant that everyone got. It's that source is always saying the imperfections are the perfections, because if you don't meet the imperfection, how are you going to change yourself? So you're always adjusting.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And in Japanese culture, they honor the imperfection in their creation as perfections.
Yeah.
So I think if we change that Western society of always needing to be more and more and more and more and more perfect, more, look at the young children going for what is shown in these social medias and that. And then they feel less and less about themselves. And it is a tool to promote more buying, more needing, and it's turned on its head, because we need to start loving who we are, and our imperfection can be our teachers.
Yeah. And I'm so glad we speak about this, because working with a lot of youth also, several have told me, I don't see any hope. I just see darkness in the future. It's kind of World War, Russia, and Trump now being the president, and people see it as, wow, we are kind of going to the doom days, kind of going backwards. I don't see any light. The future looks so dark. So what we are talking about now, that we are older than we have ever been before, and we having the best time of our life, so we can kind of activate the childhood and the craziness and the wildness and the playfulness of being a child as adults.
Yeah, I'm 68 years young, like they say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am more joyful, more youthful in my spirit than
Yes.
I've ever been.
Yeah.
And but I love my life. I love my life's journey,
Yeah.
because that has taught me who I am.
Yeah.
So I think, I was in school in Denmark in the end of the 70s, in the beginning of 80s, end of the 70s, yeah. And the youth in Denmark was so fearful of the atomic wars, the atomic bombs. They were not going to have children. They were all in this doom and gloom.
Yeah.
And I was like perplexed, because I hadn't really thought about it this way. So if you have this dogma that's in the news in each country,
Yeah.
you become so soulless and controllable in fear.
Yeah.
And the youth, that's why they hide themselves in games, because in the games you are superpower.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to play as Superman?
Yeah.
And it's, you realize you are not your body, you are not your country, you are not all these titles, you are so much more.
Yeah.
And so the spirit is the core essence of us.
Yes.
But it's learning from being also limited by all these different rules and regulation. And that's the game. I think if we are in a game, then that is the game, to become powerful in the contrast of being limited and realizing we're not limited.
And that's why I love the movie The Matrix, because it is kind of the game and you out hack the game, and how to become a super conscious player, because kind Neo becomes the God source creator. So how can we, because it's a lot of teaching and deep wisdom in the Matrix, because
Yes.
our pattern is a matrix created by the society, ancestor, what we learned to school, and then we have a kind of divine matrix. So that's why also I want call this podcast Divine Design Podcast. How can we hack out of this um, program matrix and go into the divine matrix? But because that's limitless, beyond time, beyond space, being like children and singing, dancing, enjoying life, playfulness.
Well, we are in the midst of the change to this, new age of Aquarius.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and it may seem to many take too long, but it's actually going fast because we're getting more and more in touch. So, I think the human mind has been locked into it's happening, something's bad is happening, and you are lost there. It's like there's no future. So the children are there. They're in this darkness of there's nothing there. So it's ours to remind them it's a storm. And when you're in a snowstorm, you can't nearly see anything, open your eyes. So you know the snowstorm will stop. But in a certain moment, split second, you might feel like, oh shit, this is never stopping. And I think children get stuck there sometimes. So it's about assisting us all to see there is bright future. And it's never been as bright as now, or the possibility of it. And that's where we are working from. We're working, creating the more bigger future for us as a community. When we meet together, we're taking in the whole world, the whole cosmos. We're not working from just small me or small you. We put our energies together and call in the highest creation, each one of us as a source.
Yes.
And when sources play, they go. So that is, I think the old religion way has limited us to see the possibility. But in teachings, in the old text through time, it's always said, you are source, you are God.
Yeah.
And if we take the old man with a beard out of it and just see the hugest sunlight that's ever existed, if that is this God source, then we are just like the drop of the ocean. We're a crystal diamond, and it's ours to sparkle our sound, our light as source.
Yeah. But I'm glad that I have experienced the same as you today, because I also saw the future as dark and doomed kind of for a period. And when I had my big calling in 2013 and it will show me a bright future, I didn't even believe in it the first time. It's like, it can't be possible. It's like, how can that be? Because I was still, the changes started to happen in 2013, but I got kind of a calling and it will show me how the bright the future can be. And since I still was in my programming, I hadn't started to deprogram. It was like, but that can't be. I wouldn't even believe in it. So I understand young people that says we can't believe in it, because it is a shift, a total shift. We're out of this head, as Tony Robbins says, you're dead in your head. So we need to totally shift and just be in the here and now and go with the flow. And we are life power.
Mm-hmm.
We are childness. We are everything. The
Yeah.
I am. We are the I am. We can experience whatever we want. And someone says, yeah, you are talking fiction. No, we aren't talking fiction. It is possible.
Yeah. And I mean, people go into nature, and here you were in Norway, I'm in Norway.
Hmm.
And Norwegian people love to hike and be out in nature. At
Yeah,
least that's been the prominent. And if you lose connection with nature, you lose connection with yourself,
that's true.
because nature is breath,
Yeah,
it is joy and beauty. And then you reach this high, wow. And he said, oh my God, look at those colors, look at this beauty, and you are lifted.
yeah,
So that's why meditation with beautiful sounds, or going into your heart, connecting with your most favorite space, or your animal, or whatever, or your children, and smile, that opens that heart connection.
yeah,
And so meditation of any sort, or contemplation, or getting into yourself,
mm,
will help people know that there is a future.
yeah,
If you only stay in this 3D realm of limitation, then you lose hope.
yeah,
That's quite understandable.
yeah,
And I think probably the church had this possibility before, in long time ago, but we live in a totally different society. So sourceness needs to be reached in a different way than through hierarchy,
yeah,
because now we're getting to the point that you are part of source. So you connect your way to source and download into your energy what that is telling you. Smile, be happy,
yeah,
say hello to everyone, and just help a person, or uh, go into yourself, or paint, or cook, or whatever,
yeah. And
because these quiet messages are often missed when we are stressed.
yeah, that's true. And I, when you talk about church, and since I have studied theology and worked in a church this half year, a lot of people have said to me, "Well, we know you're a spiritual person, but you're not a Christian person. You cannot go to church." So so our thoughts is that okay, spirituality, openness, it doesn't belong to the church anymore, and that's kind of a paradox. That why are the spirituality and the openness and the sourceness, it is not longer at the church. And some people also have said that the church, that day it will fall, it's old fashioned, but someone say we will do it new,
Mhm.
redefine it. So I hoping to redefine the theology so that we know that all of us embody the God sourceness. Even though
Mm,
I know that a lot of people react only to the word God,
mm,
but we can call God universe, we can call it source, we can call it whatever we want, but it is the essence, the light essence of us. The divine,
mm,
I call it divine design, because divine design is not, so we have so much judgment into a lot of concept. Divine design, it hasn't so many judgmental concept. So we are divine design. We
absolutely.
we have a divine matrix, from the personal matrix to the divine matrix. That's the
And
same as divine design.
that's where I know you are so much into health, and that's where our healing and health comes
Yeah,
from.
yeah,
It's realizing that nobody is made wrong. We have everything internally. The limits that we put on ourselves are these thoughts, and you're not supposed to, you can't, this isn't done, this is how we do it. All these things are creating stuck energies in our bodies and in our fields. And so we wonder why people get cancer and this and that. It is a combination of so many things. So it's not an easy fix for many at this moment, but I think we will step into where people can let go of so many old pains and limitation, and the body says, "Ooh, this feels better. Now I can heal myself." Because I have done for, yeah, probably since 2013. Like I said, I just talk to my body. I
Yeah.
don't need to go to doctors. They are perfect at fixing people if you break your bones and different things. But if it is this medicine thing, I found out through my journey that I trust my body, and I trust that as soon as I took on that responsibility,
Mm.
I also need to do what these quiet voices tell me.
Yes.
Do this, and I do that. Change your food, change your diet, change this. And and so gradually I've been, fixing, or not, I haven't been fixing. I've been giving my body the tools so it can turn things out better.
Yeah.
And I'm okay, because many of these things have been my biggest teachers, these
Yeah.
problems that we said illnesses. They've just been limited energy frequency, not able to move and stuck in some part of the body.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that too. I think we are so powerful. We're just kind of starting to go into that.
Yeah. We are.
You know, from the time that people thought the earth was flat, and the church and everybody wanted to keep it there,
Yeah.
and they hated that they had to rewrite history. And I think we are at a similar
Yes.
time
I
when
agree.
science and spirituality need to become one.
Mm.
And we have to realize that it is not that. We are at this big change time
Yeah.
of creating from a new reality, where this quantum reality that it's hard to explain,
Yeah.
that I'm already in my future and my past and at this now. But
Yeah.
the only place I really can create is in this moment of our conversation, because that is the now that I'm in.
Mm.
And my brain goes, but I have to just let that go and go into the heart and say, yes, I know it makes sense. I couldn't explain it. I'm not that there. I just feel it and sense it.
Yes.
And since starting having conversation with my body, and then so many things start showing up. These quiet voices, that is your intuition, that is your communication with your higher self, with God's sourceness.
Yeah.
There's so many ways. And I know you are a genius at what you are doing with youth, because that's where you're using that power of connecting beyond the limited personality that's been molded into this small form,
Yeah.
because we are not our bodies. This is a vehicle, a traveling vehicle
Yes.
that is universe's creation of the highest possibility.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Never has been. We are so perfect. We are created for this moment, and we are super beings. How can we live as such? I'm not sure. I'm doing my best.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
And I think you and me and the group we are actually the new human. We have upgraded, we have shifted. Because when I met this group in the beginning of 2020, you were working on it, and I said my goal is to be sustainable. I wanted to be sustainable because I embodied the godness, and then I felt I dropped, and I embodied it, and then I dropped. So my goal was, or my kind of vision, I want to be sustainable in my God sourceness.
Mhm.
And uh, I don't know what I thought it maybe was steps or modalities, but it is a shift.
Mhm.
So even though I can still be sick because I take in, and but I'm not sick at that the way I was earlier, because my body, as you say, we are wise. It sends the whole habitat. So if someone is planting a bomb, my body feel it. In
Mhm.
2019 in Tromsø, a lady killed herself and 3 kids. One of them survived. And after that, it had happened a lot in Tromsø. A lot of groups wanted to make community to, we don't want ladies to go on the ocean and kill herself. She was from another country. But the same day as she did that, I woke up and I thought, who is going to kill themselves? And I went into my workplace and I scanned all the people because I thought it was someone near me, but she lived not far from me. But what I'm trying to say that if I feel something in my body, it's not only me, it's the collective, it's my habitat. So a lot of young people are sensing the same as me and think, oh, I'm sick. No, it's only that, not them sickness, because we are our habitats.
Yes.
As I have also, as you said, the body is wise. So I wrote the Health Bible because the body is really wise, and listening to it because it brings us how we can heal ourselves. But at the same time, we also need to know our body is also connected to the field we are in, the habitat, and our ancestors. It's connected to everything.
And as you're talking, it's the heart frequency, the heart mapping, and they found out through 9/11 how the frequency had started unifying, harmonizing. It used to be like different ones and zeros, and it was going, in and out, not with any kind of pattern. But as soon as, some hours before the bombs, our heart field had harmonized. So, because the heart is the first thing to sense before we can commute what is happening. Yeah. So that's why this is this is the source of, if you think of aliens or anything, out of our understanding, we live in this beautiful thing that can actually do things that we have no idea how it does it. Yeah. And in millisecond, it's just done it. Like this conversation has been planned by something within us for a long time ago. A long time ago. It just kind of something that is sitting there in the frequency. And suddenly we tuned into that frequency and poof, I got an email from you. Hey, do you want to be on the podcast? And I was like, oh, okay. And to me, that sounded for my energy that I'm opening up something new in me. Yeah. So that's why my first reaction, and then, but that was from the human. Yes. But not from my source. It was, yes. Yeah. And it's just play. It doesn't really matter. But we are always creating, even though we don't know it. So everything we don't like, we create. And if we get out of blame and shame and say, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So I've been doing these things that are not so productive in what I want, but they're still my creation. Can I start changing my mind so I can change that creation or create something new? Yeah. And I think, when I started listening to Biology of Belief from Bruce Lipton, and Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden in 2012, I mean, I was like, oh, yes. Yeah. It was just like something go, whoof, that is it. We have that power. Yeah. And of course, we wanted to do it like, but it's also power we need to tune in so many ways. We have to understand ourselves, our pure heart, because everything that comes from love, and it starts with us. You have a hard time loving others if you don't love yourself. You might be doing it out of duty and all that, and moments you love, but it is the deep love is from love of self, and it's not from selfish. It's love as you are divine being with
Yes.
source, and that's why you're called to be that with everything.
Yeah.
And that's what people want to connect with when they think religion, but religion has lost their connection to source because they are so dogmatic.
Yeah.
I love that you want to take on this journey of opening religion up for reinvention. So, like we said, the earth is flat and it's round, and now it is quantum reality.
It's quantum reality.
And we need a new type of version of yeah, divine connection
Yeah.
from that point of being divine in our divine design, like you said.
Yeah. And as you say, self-love, for me, self-love is the same as loving God's source, because when we come to the essence of ourselves, that's divine design.
Yeah.
So everything is merging together.
And that's why, you know, every baby gets this,
Yeah.
ooh, and everything. And we're in love. But then we think we have to start limiting that love instead of seeing the beauty uh, in what you are. And that's what Solera has taught us, is that, you know, meet everyone as this divine source, see their bigness,
Yeah.
even those that ruffle your feathers and push your buttons, and they need it the most,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because they've kind of lost connection with their source and their love,
Yeah.
as I perceive it. So, and in this time of our now, that it seems so divided,
Yeah.
but I understand it as such that it needs to be this way at this moment, so we can see where we've kind of lost our divinity
Yeah.
into a lot of dogma, a lot of politicized, and we've been pulled apart by all kinds of forces that want different things than to be connected to divinity.
Yeah.
And I think in the core of everything, people want to live their life, and love the people.
Yeah.
That's what every culture, doesn't matter. That's the core of us all. We
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to love, be in this beautiful world that is this world.
Yeah.
There's so much beauty.
And
So,
yeah, and the best with divine design is that you spoke about this. It's no hierarchy. There are no beyond and be over, and so it's all are equal. So
mm,
we are all equal. We are all so big sources. We can source whatever we want. We
mm,
can, because consciousness can go into every form, into mountains, into sky, into animals, fishes. So it's like, because I have experience with the consciousness, and I love experience with consciousness and feeling the different vibration. When I was young, this was what actually made me sick, because I did it unconscious and I went into it and took it and became sick of
yeah,
it. But
as the
now I
word.
use it as a superpower, playing with it as we have learned.
I love it. I love it. And also, you know, I was thinking when you were talking about that, the spark of each one of us is
Yeah.
so important,
Yes.
because can't you can't play a song without the instruments and the people playing certain tones, certain lines, certain things. It has to come together as a huge group. And I think school has been in a limited, everybody has to be the same. That's dogmatic and the hierarchy. And now we have maybe possibility of realizing we'll learn faster if you and I get to learn what we are good at and
Yeah.
share that
Yes.
to the community.
Yes.
That becomes this co-creation. Then you don't have to be perfect in everything and imperfecting in most of it, instead of being perfectly happy doing your greatest tone, which is that, that makes you smile, make you share, be part of this whole creation. Yeah, that makes sense to me that I just saw it as we were speaking, that, we've been industrial age put us, everybody had to be learned to come up to a certain level. And I think now we have the tools to individualize from, oh, you are into science, you are into mathematics, you are into art, you are into building, you are into motors, you are into, exploring. And then you have these children, and that's why creating children creating a big group work, usually they are so into it because they get to do their part of this whole. So I saw it suddenly as that makes sense to me. The
Yeah,
new
and when what you're talking about, the indigenous people have said, for some of the indigenous people have said that when a baby comes, oh, what gifts can this baby bring? Because they know that each and everyone has a gift. So now this community will have another gift because it's a baby coming. And they don't try to force you have to be this way because this society is function in this way. They kind of nurture from, okay, oh, I will unpack this package. Oh, the baby is a package, it's a gift. What gift will you bring us? So it's what you are telling. It's like all of us have so many gifts. And if all of us can emanate and bring our gifts, because it's not that all of us are supposed to be bus drivers or presidents or whatever. We don't want it. We have an unique gift that we want to bring to society, want to bring to all this creation, Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go back and listen to what we as indigenous people already knew, that we are a package of gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And
and
see,
it can change through a lifetime. And like you said, I don't think children would be deluged or living in, hopelessness and lack and limitation
no.
if they felt that they were seen as this gift.
Yes,
Because those who don't fit into the old reality of this is how you learn, they start saying, I'm stupid, I'm this, I'm that, I'm blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
And suddenly this that is so perfect, has always been perfect,
yeah,
is now limited
yeah.
by a lie.
Mm.
And I think we need these lies to be seen, that there's nothing wrong with you. You were not meant to sit and read books all day. You were not meant to do this or that, because that's not where your gifts are.
Yeah.
And I think that, in old society also, people got to learn by watching the elders doing things.
Yes,
And we've kind of lost the connection to, because you love, actually, most people love learning by doing.
yes,
And that, then they bring out, this isn't for me, and you try something else. Instead of being stuck in books, and with the computers today, we don't need to learn this way. That's the beauty of all these new technology. We can learn totally different. Now I don't have to spend time in a library going through books for certain knowledge. It's online. I can read.
yeah,
Yeah, but of course I have to have discernment of, is this, get it from different sources.
yes,
But teach people to learn with these new technology, and they will surprise us.
yes. It is such a amazing time because I chose this time, and I know that a lot of people also chose this time, because what is happening now on the collective is like, the playground is really opening.
Yeah.
So, and since we have spoken almost an hour, I want to, before we
Time flies.
yeah, can you, will you share some of your epiphanies? Because I see that listening to other epiphanies, it activates the source kind of in others. So we haven't prepared it, but I know you also have experienced epiphanies. Are there some of them, one of them you could share?
Um, I've had many, like you said, and so because it's just a long journey that I've been on, and each epiphany has, and then I learned a new one and a
Yeah.
new one, and I think it was just when I was listening to, I read a book from Shirley MacLaine about Out on the Edge, or what, I can't remember. It was a groundbreaking spiritual book,
Okay.
and that kind of opened me for the sensing that I was getting, all these different things that I was understanding.
Yeah.
And I, Out on a Limb, I think it's the name of the book. And then they made a movie about it that I saw a little later. And somehow that hit me at that time, that I was in this depression, feeling lost, didn't know, the world was not turning out as I wanted. I was a young mother, and my relationship wasn't where I wanted it. And I had a lot of challenges in this, space of, is this it?
Yeah.
Religion didn't help me. I was anti-religion because it was so dogmatic. So
Yeah.
that I was reading all these different books, and somehow at that moment I had a young daughter, uh, and it just kind of opened me up to start searching for more connection. And then I started speaking to the angels, and different things happened. And I didn't tell people a lot about it because, you didn't want to be stamped as, but it really started that deep journey of taking my own power
Yeah.
and stepping into that it wasn't dangerous to dare to go out of this box. So that, yeah, that was probably 88 that I really went on this spiritual journey, which, which was perfect. But it wasn't easy, but it was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. But and as you say, I think it's easier today. The diversity, we see more diversity, and it's more accepted. Diversity is more accepted. If you go just 20 years back, it was harder. So it's easier and easier and easier. So I don't know, because we live now in another paradigm, and everything is easy in our paradigm. So, but I try to say, Peggy, okay, you have shifted your reality, but I remind myself I have lived in that hardship, uh, kind
Yeah.
of dark, painful reality. So I don't want to lose that. Uh, uh, but I lost what I wanted to say.
It's possible to step out of that into something new where there is possibility for new creation.
Yeah,
It's so hard to be in this hopelessness.
yeah, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm not, yeah, I'm afraid of um, kind of being egoic, egoic, or being, as Solera call it, big head. In Scandinavia, we have this Jantelov and being big head. So because you have a big ego, it's not, when you are in this paradigm, it can be hard to explain to others that this is not a big headed shift. It is kind of, everything is connected to everything. We are all source creator. Everything is equal. There are no hierarchy. But when you are in the old paradigm that we have lived for so many years, it is so hard to understand. We tried, but the head is kind of, as you also said, I cannot understand that. And you cannot. I have really tried.
Yeah.
So it's like staying in your head, you're dead.
Oh, I love it. I love that. And I think, that we know that everybody's doing their best at every time.
Yes.
And your limits are your teachers.
Yes.
So anyone who feels this isn't for them are absolutely perfect where they are at. But everything is like a seed. Sometimes the seeds fall into hard ground, soft ground, or a living condition. And I think that we are here and chose this time, like you said,
Yeah.
to be possible seed spreaders of there is something different out there for everyone. And it's up to you to dare to go on a journey and check it out.
Yeah.
Because if you are stuck in this is the only way, that's fine. Just stay there.
Yeah.
But if you feel that you are claustrophobic and feeling the tension and you are locked into a cage, then dare to go out and check things out because they won't hurt you. You never want really, and I don't want to use the word never, but as possible, allow yourself to always come back to yourself and check within your heart if something you listen to fits for you in that moment. And if it doesn't, you don't have to question it. You always have to listen to your heart for the wisdom that is being shared because there are endless ways to discover our divinity.
Yes, they are. They are.
We've been on this journey and I've tried many different ways.
Yeah.
And my connection is saying anytime somebody wants to, you are only allowed to think this way, only allowed to do it this way. I have to leave. And but I pick out something great from each teaching.
Yeah.
And I call them my Christmas balls that I hang on my special energy tree. So I've kind of collected my own version of wisdoms and truths. And some of them get old and ruined, and I change it out, and that's fine. But you are not supposed to be here and then perfect. You have to take the journey and love all these different routes that it takes you on and you're always perfect, even though you later think, "Oh, I was quite limited there," but it's perfect for the moment that you're in. So I hope people who listen to your podcast uh, keep an open mind.
Yeah.
And if it's not fertile ground for them, what we're talking about, then that's okay. We bless everyone for just be yourself, find your truth.
Yeah.
Our truth is been helping me, my truth and your truth. And I honor absolutely that you are different from me, even though we have a connection. And that's why I was saying that the gifts that you bring to the group that we're in and my gifts, we put them all together and we see these beautiful things happen.
Yeah.
And it's not physical, all of it, but actually they turn into physical realities when we practice it more and more. That's where we have found so many new things happening in our lives because we kept on doing it and doing it again.
And I will end all this beautiful conversation with because when I asked Epiphany, can you tell an epiphany? When you told about this book, uh, I some weeks ago I wake up and a title of a small book was given to me, not the Bible because I'm writing a new Bible, but it was a small book, kind of how to raise our vibration and go into this shift.
Mm.
And when you talk about this book, it's like, yes, that's what the content for this book will be. I have the title, I don't remember it because when I wake up and I just write it down and then I go back to sleep. So, and you reminded me, okay, I will write a small book just to help people to go to this shift, how to live with epiphanies. Because as both of us have had a lot of epiphanies, it's kind of, when you start, it comes more and more and more and more. I think this is kind of a way into just emanating the God source and living this playfulness and all the goodies that's there. So
yes, let's play
the divinity game.
a divinity game. I like it, the divinity game.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gunny, for being on this podcast. I really love talking to you.
I loved it. It was easy. So I say thank you, and thank you to everyone who listens. And may your podcast blossom.
Thank you.
And sparkle many seeds out there.
Yes, that's our intention. Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. You can follow divinedesign.it on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.